NFL free agency is just around the corner. If you want more updates on all the goings on for the Tennessee Titans, hit that sub button for me right now. And we'll talk about free agency here in just a second, but there are some Kirk Cousins trade rumors out there again for the Titans, so I wanted to hit that. PFF argued in favor of the Titans trading for Kirk Cousins this offseason, which I have thoughts about. Here's a PFF wrote. One to keep an eye on would be the Tennessee Titans, who hold the first overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft with lots of needs. The idea of taking a QB at the top has been met with some contention. The idea Tennessee could trade back, get more draft capital, or select a generational talent, which is not a quarterback this year, has become the prevailing sentiment in NFL circles. That would then open up a giant hole still at quarterback, or I guess keep a giant hole there at quarterback. Could Kirk Cousins fill that? There are issues here, very real issues that you have to figure out that might not be able to be figured out. The biggest of which, and we'll go in depth on all of these three here, the contract for Kirk Cousins. He does have a no-trade clause. Maybe he doesn't want to come down to Tennessee. And the Titans' level of interest as well is not a guarantee, in part because of the contract in play and everything else in between. Now, this is the contract here for Kirk Cousins. He's due $27.5 million guaranteed this upcoming season. He's got $45 million due in both 2026 and 2027. The 2025 number is fine. The 2026, 2027 numbers are not nearly as appealing. There is also $10 million of that 2026 figure that's fully guaranteed in March, so you'd be paying, in theory, $37.5 million for a year of play. The Falcons, by the way, saved $2.5 million of the trade, but $27 million in cash. They lose $25 million of the cut because his 2025 number is guaranteed, and they save $0 post-June 1st. So in theory, Atlanta would be eating some of this contract. How much of that, I don't know. Because I don't want to pay 37-year-old Kirk Cousins $27.5 or really $37.5 million for a single season. Now, if Atlanta wants to cut that number down significantly, which I don't think Kirk's going to take a pay cut, there's no reason to pass up on that cash. I think there's big issues there. And I don't want to pay him that after what we saw this season. I think we can be objective here. He just wasn't good. He didn't play well. He very clearly regressed. I am interested in him if he's cut. In the event that Cousins ends up getting dumped and moved on from, okay, I can have that conversation. Atlanta, though, would need to eat a lot of this money. I'm not just trying. Look, Cousins might help me keep my job, whatever, if I'm Brian Callahan, but I don't want to just give him a bunch of money and say, okay, go be mid-career Tennessee version of Ryan Tannehill. We did that already, right? Cousins struggled this year. There's no way around it. I don't think he played very well. He was doing great before the injury in 2023, but now he's 37 years old this season. There's issues there. Now, if he's cut, that minimum, a lot of interest there. So would you trade for Kirk Cousins? Y for yes, N for no. It is the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. ESPN dropped their top 50 free agent list and the best team fit for each player on that top 50. Two players were linked to the Titans as part of that. Malcolm Koonce, the edge rusher from the Raiders, and Kevin Zeitler, the guard from the Lions. Here's what Matt Bowen, who wrote the piece for ESPN, wrote on Koonce. Denard Wilson needs an impact edge to come his two interior defenders, Jeffrey Simmons, Devondre Sweat. A knee injury in early September erased Koonce's 2024 year before it began, but he posted 8 sacks and 29 pressures in 2023. If the knee checks out, Koonce would have upside in Wilson's system as a 3-down defender with pass rush chops. I am intrigued by Malcolm Koonce as a potential buy low candidate for the Tennessee Titans. I know the sack numbers were not there, and you're kind of banking it all on the 2023 campaign where he showcased a lot of ability as a pass rusher, but I'm open to gambling on that, depending on what you do elsewhere. You have options under contract for now. I feel like ignoring Harold Landry was questionable by ESPN, but I'm not opposed to cutting Arden Key and bringing in Koonce in that capacity, depending on what the money looks like there. That intrigues me. If one of Harold Landry or Arden Key are gone, I like the idea of a buy low young player like Malcolm Koonce. That 2023 campaign, 8 sacks, 9 TFLs, 17 quarterback hits, that might get him paid, but not as much as it would have been had he done it again in 2024 and if he were actually healthy. More free agents talk to come, but a quick note for you guys. Titans hoodies are on sale. Go to chatsports.com/Titans hoodie to get yours today. A wide variety of styles, colors, fits, designs, everything else in between. With the weather still kind of being a bit cold, depending, of course, on where you live, you can get your hoodie today. Link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. It's chatsports.com/Titans hoodie. All right, back to Kevin Zeitler. Here's what Matt Bowen wrote on him. Titans need to rebuild the right side of their offensive line. They can start batting improvement vet in Zeitler. He's a physical inside presence with power to displace defensive tackles and movement ability to pull on gap schemes. He routinely wins in pass protection, using a strong base to hold off interior rushers and posting a pass block win rate of 94.4% with the Detroit Lions last season. He's still really good. Kevin Zeitler has been in the NFL for a tremendous amount of time, and I think is probably one of the more, for a guy that's only been to one Pro Bowl, he's had a 13-year career of just starting games. Like, he hasn't not started a game in ever, outside of the couple years he's been banged up and missed time with injuries early in his career in Cincinnati. Everywhere he's gone, Cincinnati, Cleveland, New York, Baltimore, he's just been good. And even though he's old, he's a big old upgrade over what you got right now on that side of the line. If you can plug him in at right guard, spend a day 3 pick on someone to develop and groom behind him, I think that's a pretty good plan of attack. I think that helps you short term and gives you some flexibility long term to try to draft somebody still. Zeitler turns 35 in March. All he does is put up years of that's good starting stuff, and teams keep thinking, this year it's not going to work out for him. It always seems to work out for him. I would have a lot of interest in that one. I think a lot of teams should have interest if they need a stopgap option at right guard. So pick one to sign if you can only pick one of these two guys. Assuming there is one. You could always type in none, I suppose. MK for Malcolm Koonce, KZ for Kevin Zeitler. Let me know in the comment section of today's video which one you'd rather go out and sign. One more note, your Tee Higgins dreams are dead here. The Bengals are set to franchise tag Tee Higgins if they can't get a long-term deal worked out, which shouldn't be surprising. That's kind of always been the plan, the expectation, etc. here. There's no reason, justifiable reason at least, for the Bengals to let Tee Higgins hit the open market. The franchise tag is less than he'll get on the open market, and they need him. That offense doesn't operate nearly as well without Tee Higgins. They have the money. In fact, I would bet the Bengals get a long-term deal done. I wouldn't get my hopes up for guys like Chris Godwin, by the way, either. Of note, Higgins changed agents to Jamar Chase's agent. Seems kind of noteworthy that is, an indication he'll end up re-signing. I still want to get receiver help, whether it's a draft and or free agency, but I think we can cross Tee Higgins if you had him on there on your free agency wish list.